Welcome back. This is eSIM Studios here on a Saturday morning. Got some very exciting news that I just noticed, and I was like, man, I gotta get this out here. I gotta hit record. This is very exciting. For all y'all that are Samsung Galaxy fans, I have really big news. Now, I put out some leaks. What was it? Probably about a week ago, in regards to the new Samsung Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus, even S24 Ultra. Just some specs that were leaked out as far as storage variants, battery sizes, screens, all the main components that were inside or that are going to be inside the new Samsung Galaxy S24 series. And finally, today it looks like we have a leaked image. Now, these are renders, but they come from inside of Samsung and or the manufacturing plant, or where, I guess not manufacturing plant, but inside of the internal testing inside Samsung, that they've been testing and leaning towards a more of an iPhone designed S24 series. And that's big news to the rest of the world, right? So if you can look at the image behind me, these are renders of what the S24 and S24 Plus look like. They have the squared off design, squared off edges, and look very similar if you take the cameras out. But I'm just talking about the frame, how it looks and feels, very similar to the iPhone. Now, I'll pull up some images in the article now. I'm sure I haven't really expressed my opinion on iPhone. I'm sure if you've been a viewer of this channel for a while, you can probably guess I'm not a big iPhone fan. I don't use them. I just don't like them, period. Now, I like the design. I'm not a fan of iOS. In fact, I despise iOS. The operating system, the usability, even the fact, the whole side loading thing. There's a ton of I could go down a list, and I'm not going to because it would take a while, of just things that really bug me about iOS. I had to use a iPhone for a few years in one of my previous jobs as a work phone, a company issued work phone, and it drove me crazy. It's night and day. It's not even a fair comparison in my mind as far as the best, the easiest to use, usability, more customizable. Android demolishes iOS in my opinion, in my mind, as far as the better operating system. Now, what I have liked about Apple is the design. I've always liked that squared off edges. That's one of the reasons why I purchased the Nothing Phone 2. Because it had a iPhone look. I like the hardware Apple uses. I just hated the software, and that's why I don't use any Apple devices, whether it be MacBook, iPad, or iPhone. But let's take a look here. Let me do a screen share real quick, and let's jump into this. Okay. You ready? So, iPhone style S24 and S24 Plus will get an updated design with flat side bezels. Thumbs up for that. Look at these. Look how nice this looks. And that looks beautiful. Just very nice classic design. And I know they haven't wanted to copy. Samsung has not really wanted. They wanted their devices to stand out. Now, Apple has been on this design for the last, few years, and they're kind of molding it, changing it a little bit for the iPhone 15, especially next year for the 16. So Apple's kind of slowly maturing out of this design language, and Samsung, I'm sure, says no, because these flat sides is a classic design. It looks great. It feels great. As Apple slowly matures away from the design language of these flat sides, because they're going to look a little different in the future. And this year, Samsung says we will move right in to the flat design, because look, after you can only run the same design language on a phone for so long, even if you have a hit, until you kind of have to start doing something a little different. Obviously, you don't want to make drastic changes. You're going to lose some fan base. That's why you want to make slow, gradual changes. But like I said, as Apple kind of looks like they're going to start moving away or modifying this design language, Samsung will slide right on in. This is a classic design, classic look, classic feel. And I know there's going to be some people that dislike it, and that's fine. But I think for the general public, this is a phenomenal design language for Samsung to get into the S24 series. Now, it says interesting thing. It says S24 and S24 Plus. So what's the S24 Ultra going to look like? Well, funny you ask that. Now, there has been no leaks, but if you remember from the S22, it had more rounded sides, and for the S23 Ultra, which I have here, they made the sides more flat. Now, it's still a little bit rounded. It still looks like a wide U, but it's definitely it's definitely more flat, the S23 Ultra, than the S22 Ultra. The S22 Ultra was definitely rounded. This one's a more flat design, so I'm expecting them to continue that trend in the S24 Ultra. I guarantee you it's not going to be completely flat like you see here on the S24 and S24 Plus, because this does have a ever so slightly curved screen. Again, the curve was less aggressive on this one. I think they're going to follow that trend as well. Now, as we see the S24, S24 Plus being completely flat on the sides, there will be less of a curve rolling into the S24 Ultra than the S23. So I still think the very, very minimal curved design display for the S24, they're going to keep that. It's just going to be more flat than the previous version. And then who knows, maybe by the S25 Ultra, S26 Ultra, maybe they'll look towards a completely flat design. But the S23 Ultra and upcoming S24 Ultra is so big, you almost have to have a slightly curved side for it to fit in your hands just perfectly. Because, as you know, if you've ever held a iPhone 14 Pro Max or 13 Pro Max, those still have flat edges, and that phone is so big, it's hard to wrap your hand around the whole phone. And having a slightly curved design, because it is so big, is really the way to go when it comes to the feel and usability in your hand. So I think these will get more let's see, there we go. I think this phone, the S23 Ultra, which I have, but I think the S24 Ultra will just get more flat and more flat until it's almost completely flat. But they'll figure out something, because again, like I was just saying, it's so big. If it's completely flat, just a tenth of an inch or a centimeter or two, it makes a difference, because that makes a difference in, look, where we go, being able to reach the other side of the screen with your thumb. If it's flat, your thumb's going to be less likely to go farther across the screen. So anyways, that's probably the biggest news of the day. I was looking for something to record on, and this certainly hit on it. So I'm going to put a link in the description for you to read the article that I just hit on. But this is huge news in the Android world and or Samsung Galaxy world, and we definitely look forward to this design. We welcome it, Samsung. I think you have a home run on your hands if you do end up mass producing this style, this model of your S24 and S24 Plus. I'm sure the S24 Ultra design leaks are not far away, but like I said, if you just look at the history and where they're going, I guarantee you it'll be pretty damn similar to this one. It'll just have a little flatter sides, but again, it's not going to be as flat as those behind me. So I do appreciate your time, and if I get any more big news, I will definitely hit y'all up and we will look at what we got in the Android world. I appreciate you joining me. This is eSIM Studios. Peace out.